Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today I want to talk about something that recently ended but has been a very contentious thing, the Kyle Rittenhouse case. The case has really divided a lot of people. Now, in the case, Kyle Rittenhouse brings an AR-15 or like gun from Illinois, where he lives, into Kenosha County, Wisconsin. He shoots 3 people, although you know, one of the things is he was acting to defend property, which wasn't his property. But 2 of the shooting victims die. 1 is injured. Now, he also claims he did it in self-defense. So, there's a lot going on here. Kyle Rittenhouse himself is 17-year-old. And as I said, he's from Illinois, but traveled from the state of Illinois into Kenosha County, Wisconsin. So maybe he lives on the border, like I live on the Virginia side of the Virginia-Kentucky border. Maybe it was a situation like that, because you do tend to go across state lines when you don't live that far from the state line. So for me, traveling to Kentucky is pretty common. Even Tennessee is pretty common. So I have no issues with him traveling from Illinois to Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, supposedly, the rifle was bought for him. So suddenly we have a 17-year-old with a rifle who's there to, quote, defend property. But, number one, it wasn't his to defend. There was no castle doctrine. The police were there, and I believe the National Guard of Wisconsin had already been called out to keep the peace. So his intervention was completely unnecessary and unwarranted. But, yeah, that's not only this. I hate to use prior evidence to a case, but there is a video, and I will state it is unconfirmed of whether it is Rittenhouse. Let's make that clear. But in the video, there is someone stating, whose face is not shown, that's why we only have the voice to go on, that he wishes he had his AR-15 he would shoot some of these people when he was talking about the protests and the violence that occurred with them. And while it adds really nothing, it is an interesting potential evidence of a preconceived motive if it is indeed him. But yeah, in the video they say, I wish I had my fucking AR to shoot at people leaving the CVS while it was during the protest and and unfairly associated rioting and looting went on. I only say this because there was rioting and looting during the King protests, but he denounced such rioting and looting, as many in the Black Lives Matter movement attempted to do. So, I think this gives us a look at Rittenhouse. Now, he shot 3 people, as I said. 2 died, 1 injured. The one he shot and died, Joseph Rosenbaum, apparently was unarmed, but carried a plastic bag that contained a toothbrush, toothpaste, socks, deodorant, and some papers. He confronted Rittenhouse and eventually threw the bag at Rittenhouse, who responded by firing 4 shots. So yeah. The second man that was killed was Anthony Huber. He was a man who had a skateboard with him, as he was often well known for skateboarding. And he tried to use that as a weapon of self-defense. You could protest. So, just as you could protest that Rittenhouse was using self-defense. That, while Huber had a weapon, it was not one he was going to be able to kill with. Let's see. And yes, he hit Rittenhouse with the skateboard. But of course, it was one blow that was not even enough to bring Rittenhouse down. And supposedly, Rittenhouse fired a single shot into Huber. He died. Gage Grosskreutz. He was shot. He was injured, but he did not die. Now, Grosskreutz was armed with a pistol, but he also had medical supplies, which he brought simply to the protest to try to help people who were injured. Um, let's see. Grosskreutz apparently said he was not intentionally pointing his weapon at Rittenhouse, but cross-examination said he pointed it at Rittenhouse at the moment he was shot. So those are the victims who were shot. Let's see. Now, the actual judge in the case has also garnered a lot of attention for his actions. He is one Judge Bruce Schrader. One, just for the selection of the jury, there has been a lot of contention about. I believe they said um, County, Wisconsin percentage. Yeah, I believe they said that 5%. Okay. So I was mistaken on that. That's why sometimes you do have to look up information. You can be wrong. But the point is, in his selection, it was considered very unusual in how he selected or had the jurors selected. Because supposedly he placed slips of paper into a raffle drum with the numbers of the 18 jurors and just had them chosen out that way. So, yeah, that's one thing that is extremely bizarre. Number two is some of the actions or some of the demands the judge made as far as the word victim was barred from being used, while the words rioters and looters were permitted. He didn't even allow really alleged victim. Uh, he apparently halted the trial and uh, basically talked down to the prosecutor um, in regards to line of questioning, which was regarding a video that we had talked about earlier. It's not been confirmed, but that Rittenhouse said he had wished he had had his AR to shoot people. And often expressed harsh language towards the prosecutor on several occasions. Let's see. Though he did dismiss a white juror overheard making a joke about the shooting of Jacob Blake to a bailiff. So he has some unusual actions. Uh, let's see what else. He made a comment about Asians and Asian food, but I don't really see that as having standing for anything in the trial. Despicable as it might be. Let's see. Oh, yes. And he barred MSNBC from the courtroom, which supposedly were following, or it was someone who worked for them, were following the Rittenhouse van closely in traffic. Although, although I had heard that Fox News was traveling with Rittenhouse in the van. That is nothing I can confirm, but yeah, those are things I have heard. So that's hearsay. But all in all, he killed 2 people and injured another. One threw a bag with toiletries and papers at him and was killed. The other did hit him once with a skateboard, was killed. At the very least, this should have been second-degree murder. I see, you know, no other proof that, oh, it was self-defense. He took his gun into he went into another state where a gun was purchased for him. He was under 18. No, he should not have been acquitted. He should not have gotten away. It was clear and blatant homicide. Period. But unfortunately, as is often the case these days, this has been made into a political issue. And one side is going, yeah, this is a great win, while the other is saying it is a failure of justice. And I have to agree, it is a failure of justice. Because if you look at the facts of this case, it is clear as a bell ringing out on a cloudless morning. He shot these people without proper provocation. So, yeah. But I'll go ahead and put links in the description below the video. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. If someone tries to tell you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, later.